Some people would say that Charles and Antis Roofing are superheroes, and I think that's a fitting moniker for Charles in particular. Not only does he kind of look like a superhero on a given day, but he really has demonstrated that with some pretty amazing and powerful things in engaging the community and giving back to the community.
We do have a superhero, it's Roof God. The purpose of Roof God was to show that peace of mind when it's raining, that we can go to your home and get you secure and you can have a good night's sleep.
We come to people's rescue, literally. We come to their rescue in a moment of need and we take great care of them.
They really are superheroes. They are a remarkable company, and it starts from the top.
You know, the superheroes of giving to me, I think that I can just picture the faces of all my employees.
I would put that on the guys in the field. Charlie would probably tell you everybody that works here.
Everybody that works here. The workers on the field, the workers in the office, because they go above and beyond to serve the people, just like superheroes do, you know?
I have texts that'll show up and they'll say, hey, I just found out this guy has cancer and he needs a new deck. Tell you what, will you donate the materials and I'll donate my Saturday? I mean, when you have stuff like that happening on a weekly basis in your company, it's magic.
He's spreading the word to other companies that they too can do good in their community. It's by example that he's doing that, and also engaging his suppliers, his vendors, his customers in doing good in the community.
Antis is always trying to find a new and exciting way to kind of bring to the community something that brings joy, happiness, and helps other people.
Whenever we need somebody to put on a cape and say, hey, Antis Roofing, we want to take care of some families, what can you guys do to help us? They're always there swooping things up in their superhero way.
And I have here the opportunity to help them more, and that's why I always attend to the Habitat, to doing that, giving my little bit time out to others to help to have a better life, and that is my passion for the Habitat.
If I could have every corporation emulate what Antis does, it would be incredible.
We all genuinely care about giving back to the community, and there's not a lot of companies where you find that each and every employee genuinely wants to give their time and help others.
They're at every charity in town in some tangible way. And it's not just throwing money on the table, it's actually showing up with their staff, with their dollars, and with a roof.
Superhero is kind of a really good definition for them because they're there to help, right? Isn't that what a superhero does?
We are a company that has somehow figured out that we can give, and we can give like we're on steroids. And we can thrive in doing so.
They're actually there to help communities be built, stay maintained, and be that way for years.
To my fellow roofers, I say, first off, there is enough. Search your heart, find the cause that's near and dear, and then talk about it every week, and then let your walk follow your talk. And then you'll make a difference. You'll attract talent. You'll matter to your community and all of your stakeholders, and you'll be here in 25 years.
All of those things that we all want to think are happening, if we're not there doing them, who is? So it's that age-old question, without you, who? So without you, who?
Why Antis?
Well, Aaron was born here.
Yes. Actually in that corner, there's like a little manger set up, so it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, children. Your time is over.
This has been horrible because it's been like an hour and I've answered 2 questions.
Wow. I'm going to go off script again, sorry Caitlin, but I want to remind everybody of what Fortune magazine and what's the other one? Fortune and thank you, Forbes magazine. What they said about what a great leader is, I'm going to quote it again. Sincere enthusiasm, integrity, great communication skills, loyalty, decisiveness, managerial competence, empowerment, and finally, charisma. And then that X factor, sense of purpose. search your heart. I love that. You just saw it for yourselves. This is a powerful and amazing and extraordinary leader. Now I'm going to go back on script. And ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. I spent some time and tried to memorize the great things this man has accomplished. Not only as a giving pillar of the community, but also as a professional. And I confess, I was unable to do it. The list of this man's accomplishments and how he has truly given back after searching his heart is truly amazing. And so to do it justice, I want to make sure that I get each and every one right. First of all, it is my pleasure, and it's my honor to introduce this man. The keynote speaker for the morning. He began his career in roofing in 1984 and quickly became known as a community-oriented business leader. He currently serves on the board of the Ronald McDonald House, Orange County, and I couldn't really say what I did see the clown, I did see him. He also is on the California State University Fullerton Center for Leadership, for those of Titans out there. One OC's External Advisory Board, the Orange County Habitat for Humanity Board. His company has donated every roof installation of every home built by the Habitat since 2009. And I wanted to make sure that I spent some time with Charles Antis to make sure that I got everything, and he did write something down for me, and Charles, your writing is worse than mine, man. He also serves on the board of trustees at the National Roofing Contractors Association in Chicago, and this governs the roofing in North America. Its influence is worldwide, and it is the largest trade association. More about that, right, Charles? Wonderful. He's also served for more than 20 years on the Education Committee of the Community Associations Institute, teaching maintenance responsibilities to board members and community managers. There's more. All right, big breath. Ready? He's the recipient of the 2018 Greater Irvine Chamber Business of the Year Award. In 2000, yeah? I'll wait. In 2017, he received the U.S. Chamber of Commerce U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation Corporate Citizen Award. The National Philanthropy Day honoree. Outstanding Corporation or Business. The Civic 50 Orange County honoree. CACM Vision Award for Corporate Social Responsibility. And received the top honor with the CNA Insurance National Roofing Contractors Association Community Involvement Award. Wow. You see why I didn't memorize it? He is known within the community to inspire others with his innovative Give to Grow, it's a direct quotation, Give to Grow approach to corporate social responsibility. What a powerful vision, what a powerful message, and what a powerful way to search your heart. His colleagues describe him as a CEO who leaves a trail of good wherever he goes and is helping to create a better world. And we just saw that. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming CEO and founder of Antis Roofing and Waterproofing, the one and the only, the man that epitomizes all 8 characteristics plus 1, the one and only, Charles Antis.
It's an honor to be here because I love talking about purpose. And I love it that it's trending, right? I love it that it's trending, but I have to tell you stories to really make a point. And so I want to start by telling you kind of how my business discovered purpose. It happened a long time ago. It was 28 years and 5 months ago when Antis Roofing was born. And it didn't look anything like it looks today because It was just a guy trying to support young children with very minimal skills. I didn't have a kettle, I didn't have a crew, I didn't have the ability to sell a large roof. So I learned a skill that I claimed I was good at, and I eventually became good at, and that was solving anything that leaks. So if you had a rainstorm and you had a leak in your home, anybody have a leak in their home last night? Didn't really break my heart. If you did, I would claim, and no one else could solve it, I'll go fix it for free, and then I'll prove myself. And that's how I started my business. But I didn't have a lot of calls, because the company I was working for before had kind of gone under, and I just had to survive. And so the calls were so important that I could go sell a leak repair that I put weather stripping on the home bedroom converted to an office, so when callers called, they wouldn't hear children screaming. And I would get a few calls a week, and it was under this condition that I got a call one day from a lady who had leaks in every room. That's like $500 a week, and so I'm in a good mood. I have mortgage payments to make in 2 weeks, and I'm driving to this home. This is in LA, where I started my business in Torrance. And I notice as I'm driving closer and closer to this area that the homes are getting smaller and eventually more disheveled, and I'm kind of concerned. Until finally I turn on the street where the home would be, and I just see a dead grass field, and set back and from this field, this big lot, was this small home. And I thought, could that be it? And I had to go up there because, I showed up, I had to show up, and I went and knocked on the door. And I'll never forget quickly the three things that happened. Not long after I knocked, the door opened, and there was a middle-aged woman with a tired look on her face and stressed. And immediately when I saw her, before I could say hello, I was hit with the smell of mildew, like I'd never smelled before. Like, whoa. And when I smelled the mildew, it sent a shock through my system, because not only was it repulsive by smell, but it was an indicator that I needed to get the hell out of here, because there was no way I was going to make money to feed my family. That was my cognitive dissonance, and as I started to back away before I could say anything, something else happened. I felt a tug at my finger. And I looked down, and it was a little 6-year-old blonde girl, the most beautiful blonde hair, and she had the biggest smile on her face. It was the contrast of her mom and me, and then her, this big smile, and she just didn't know anything about that smell. This was her home, and she just had a visitor, and she probably didn't have a lot of visitors. And so she pulled me in, and I went into the living room where it was kind of messy, and to this tiny hallway, until finally she pulls me into what I presume is her room, because she proudly, with this big smile, is showing me this unicorn poster on the wall. But my eyes are drawn down to 4 mattresses on the floor with foamy bedding. And that threw me right back into that moment. And it's kind of a good story now, but it didn't feel good right then, because I wanted to run away from this house. As much as that cute as that little girl was, I didn't know that I had the ability to take care of that. I didn't have enough resources, so it felt at that moment. And I sat there in that awkward state until the mother with the tired-looking face walked back in. And until finally I just looked at her, and I don't know where this came from, but I said, I'll take care of your roof. And that was the first time that purpose showed up before profit at Antis Roofing that I can remember. And I went up on the roof, and it was really shot. It needed a new roof, and didn't have any employees yet. So I got 6 volunteers. I went and bought some roofing material, some goopy stuff, and some rolled material. We went up there on a Saturday, and we had tar all over, so we gave them a dry roof. It was dripping on the outside, but it was dry on the inside. And that felt really good, and it sort of gave us this start of purpose in our company. I mean, we didn't know it then. I didn't talk about it. In fact, I was a little bit embarrassed by it, because there was this is how it felt to me. I could never let anybody have a leaky roof just because they didn't have the money to pay. How little did I know what a great motto that would be, how little did I know at the time that eventually that would grow into a purpose for our company, which is clear. Antis Roofing exists to keep families safe and dry. And when your people know why you exist, this purpose continues. So that's how our company found purpose. But I think what I want to see, what I want to talk about is how exponential great change occurs. And you can't have a company with purpose without people that are purposeful. And so, when did you discover, did you have a moment in life where suddenly you were awakened? It could be at a time of a loss. It could be a time of a great opportunity. It also could be something that happened, that when it happened it meant something else, but now there's an aha moment. I had a purposeful moment in my life when I was 19. I was raised Mormon. I'm no longer Mormon, which means I'm a foreman. I'm like so many of you and us that, you know, I was raised by an awesome religion, by my parents' religion, which I respect, but I moved away from my parents' religion. And I don't like to disrespect the Mormon faith, and I have great respect for it, because really the Mormon faith set a standard in me in life, these lofty goals of I was carrying a lot on my shoulders, but that model didn't work for me. And I think that's partly where I find myself now. But on my Mormon mission, I can tell you that I didn't want to go on a Mormon mission, but you kind of need to go on a Mormon mission if you're Mormon, if you're smart. And so I signed up to go. I didn't want to knock on doors and tell people they had the wrong God. That really stuck in my, I couldn't do that. It didn't feel right. So when I got called to go to Thailand, I was really excited about this fact. Knocking on doors was illegal in Thailand. Proselyting was illegal in Thailand, so that was cool. So we did a lot of service. Now, my experience with service isn't all good. As a Mormon youth, I mean, service means like every Saturday you're helping somebody move. And I have a lot of funny stories about moving. I'm not going to share those right now because I don't love it. It wasn't what I loved. I didn't love moving. And but I went to Thailand and we got to teach English, and that was great. I'm an expert at English. It was fun, you know, and that was great. And then there was this day where I was told we were going to an orphanage. Forgot I had a clicker over here. Might as well use it. So we were going to Thailand. That's me on my Mormon mission when I'm 19, about 140 pounds, 6'2" and 140 pounds. I don't know what that would be good for, but 6'2" and 140 pounds. So we go to this orphanage, and I was warned by one of these other missionaries. He said, Elder Antis, because that's who you are when you're on a mission, you're okay. Elder Antis, this is going to be kind of tough. When you go there, you're going to notice that, first of all, they keep the handicapped, the physically handicapped, and mentally handicapped people in the same place. It smells, and it's really hot. There's no AC, which, of course, there's no AC. It's Thailand. So I go, and I'm expecting kind of a Mormon move experience. And I go in there, and I walk into this building where I'm assigned. It's about noon, and I have this amazing experience. My eyes lock on a girl. There's about 20 kids that are just waking up from their nap, and this little girl looks like she's about 9 years old, and someone had painted rosy cheeks on her face like this. And when I saw her, she lifted up from the ground, and she smiled, and she had this beautiful smile. And I was just drawn to her. And then she looked at me, and she put up these really long arms for me to pick her up. And I thought, okay, I know what that means. So I went over and I grabbed this little girl, but I was shocked. Because when I grabbed her and lifted her, she was about 9. I expected her to be 30 or 40 pounds, but I was shocked she weighed about 10 pounds because she had severe spinal bifida and everything below her shoulders was stunted. So I picked up this girl, and in the state of shock, I didn't know what to do. And my first instinct was to do that thing that you do when your neighbor hands to the kid you don't want to hold again. And I went. And when I went to pull her away, I felt her long arms in my shoulder. And I felt her smile. And it threw me off. I wasn't done yet. Wait. About 30 seconds later, I did it again. Bounce. As I went to pull away, I saw that little rosy cheek smile at me, like she was older and wiser than me, and she just held me closer. And so that's how I sat, with her arms wrapped around my shoulders, smiling at me. And that's how I sat for the next 4 hours. I don't know what happened. I can't explain what happened. But all my life, caring, doing something for somebody, service, it didn't really sink in. How to connect, how to love people. I mean, your parents and those relationships that you're born into. But This right here was the only way I can describe this, the best I could ever come up with is I think back where I grew up in Oregon, and Grandma, who had a wooden stove, had this big wooden stick. And I remember she would stir that pot, and it feels like Grandma had a big wooden ladle, and she just took all my insides and she just stirred it up, because I didn't know what I was feeling. And that, looking back, is a powerful moment. At the time, it wasn't. It was like, oh my God, I have to save her, I have to get her out of Thailand, you know, and that wasn't why I met her. She awakened me to my purpose. So imagine if I could have appreciated it, then imagine if we could wake people up to their purpose early. Is there a method that we could wake people up to their purpose, have purposeful companies and do more together? Well, I'm going to give you another story that I think is a yes. And I'm going to tell you about a person that I'm very fond of, Ansys Roofing's president and COO, Karen Inman. And that's her in the back. That's her in the back with her arm up near the Ansys logo. And Karen Inman, I recruited for 3 or 4 years before she came to Ansys because she's just a powerful leader. And you know, I'm a founder, and you ever read that thing about founder syndrome? You know, sometimes we're just a little bit everywhere. We breathe on our people. We're like, what's that, seagull boss? You flap, 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 and shit all over everybody. You know, it's kind of like, that's kind of the founder way. And Karen comes in, and literally in 3 weeks time, I go to work, and marketing and production and finance and sales are getting along. Right? Remember that? They're getting along. They remember when they did it. So, and I remember that I'm getting good financial numbers, and the best of all, I'm sleeping through the night. I'm not waking up at 3 a.m. with that hole in my gut thinking I'm going to lose the company by the time I wake up. So I want to compliment Karen because she's such an awesome leader. So I go to work, and I'm trying to be clever in the way I talk, and I said, Karen, and she smiles at me. She kind of has a mischievous smile when she kind of jostles well. I said, Karen, do you realize that you have a superpower? And without skipping a beat, she said, yes. What is it? Like she said it 1,000 times, Karen Inman said to me, I lift everyone I touch every day. Try that on. That's pretty powerful. I mean, Karen Inman could have said to me, Charles, I lift 33% of the people I touch every day. And I would have said, whoa, wow, that's awesome. But no, she said, I lift everyone I touch. That's an intentional commitment. Her mindset is way above where mine was at the time. And I'm like, wow. And how long have you done this, Karen? Well, I'm 54 now. Since I was 32, for 22 years. Can you imagine that? I just outed her age. That was 2 years ago. Karen's 56. She's my age. So she's not here, so I can do that. She's actually running the company. That's what she does. So that was powerful to me. That was really powerful to me, and I'll never forget that moment. And it sat with me, and I remember about 6-7 weeks later, I'm working on something I enjoy working. So it was undoubtedly like cause marketing. I love marketing. I love our relationship with our nonprofits. And I'm smiling in my office, and suddenly I see her at the sidelight of my office door, and I see that mischievous grin again. And so she comes in, no one says a word. She walks over to my desk with that grin, and she carefully lays a piece of paper on my desk, and I read it. And it says, I don't know why this is making me emotional, but it says, come to the Imperative Roofing Lab, sorry, not roofing, I messed it up. Come to the Imperative Purpose Lab in Seattle and find your superpower. Wow. What's that? You have this COO that you just hired. 2 months later, she comes in and she's showing alignment with your purpose talk, and she's saying, let's go there. Let's spend a week with these leaders and let's get deep and find out what really fulfills us. And what am I going to say? Yeah, okay, I'll go. But I was scared because, I knew it was going to be like that. I got to get honest and probably start crying in front of strangers, but I went. And I got to tell you, I don't know how to describe this, but I'll try. How many of you have ever done a DISC personality assessment? Okay, or Briggs and Myers. Okay, so those are the 2 most popular, or any others. So in the DISC scale, I'm going to use that there's 4 letters that mean qualities. One of them is an I. And when I did my DISC in my business group 15 years ago, I found out that I was a ID. I was a high I, and that high I means, according to my Vistage members, ha ha ha, you want to be the center of attention. You want everyone to like you. And you know what I said? I go, no, I don't. But I did. I was embarrassed that it nailed it. Like, oh my God, they're going to know that I'm trying to get attention. And then something a couple of months later hit me. It's like, oh, that's why I like sales and customer care and marketing and why I'm good at it. And so DISC empowered me by helping me understand my strengths and my weaknesses. So what Imperative does, and it's a program written, it's from Aaron Hurst and Arthur Woods. Arthur Woods is actually speaking at Civic 50 in a couple of weeks. You gotta come if you love purpose stuff, because this is our guru. He's gonna come be the keynote there. But they built this model that's a lot like a love language or a strength finders, but it goes deep into finding what fulfills you. So I do this boot camp and all week, and I'm there with Karen and my HR director, Ernie Bastillo, and it's going really well, but I'm not finding my superpower yet because I'm still hung up in what I don't do well. Because one of the things that really became clear there is what I don't do. And one of the things I don't do well is I don't tutor people well. I'm not a good one-on-one coach. In fact, I'm so not good at that, if I'm honest. This is not something I could have outed myself on, but now I can, and you'll see why. When I was teaching my 20-year-old daughter, who was 10, her math in 5th grade, I insulted her so bad, and I was trying to be helpful, but I said something like, Allie, you're the only kid in your class that doesn't get this. That was a miss, right? But at the time, that felt like what I needed to say, and so I think rather than, I used to always try to, I'm going to be a great manager. I'm not a good manager either. When I manage people, I don't want to make them accountable. I don't want to do one-on-one meetings, and so you can't really manage people well. But what I learned at Imperative is we're not all meant to be managers. We're not all meant to be one-on-one tutors. Some people are ambassadors. They have a harmony in them where they're meant to speak to communities at large. And it was at this breakout on a table like this with our cohort, and I remember there was somebody from Deloitte there, that was amazing, and there was these two people from Carnival Cruise Lines that were there, and it was Richard from Carnival Cruise Lines. He was their VP of HR, and he said to me, Charles, I got it. You're not supposed to mentor, you're not supposed to tutor, you're not supposed to manage. This is what fulfills you, to ignite passion in others for social change. And I wore that for the first time in Seattle, not even 2 years ago, and it changed my life. Because I realized I forgave myself for those things I wasn't great at, and I embraced what I'm born to do and what fulfills me. And so there was something really powerful in that. And I'm not telling you that to brag about my superpower, but that is why it's easy for me to say yes, because what fulfills me is to awaken people to good, to social good. I love that stuff. I love to talk about it, and those of you that I know that I love to talk about it. But the reason I'm telling you is the third person who went up there was Ernie Bastillo. And Ernie Bastillo is our HR director. His superpower is not to lift everybody who touches every day, nor is it to ignite passion for social change. His superpower is to create superheroes. What? So now, Ernie Bastillo has trained 35 of ANSYS' employees in this deep dive into what fulfills them. In fact, I have a couple superheroes here, and I'm going to ask them to stand, announce their name, and by the way, I also have another person we trained that was not an ANSYS employee, and that's Susan Kinney of Ronald McDonald House, and she's like a master samurai warrior. So, can you guys stand up? State your name and tell us what your superpower, that's the statement about yourself. Loud.
I'll go first.
This is Susan DeGrassi, ANSYS' Director of Cost.
All right, so I work with teams and organizations to help them overcome societal barriers, engaging them and bringing them together. Perfect for the job I now have.
Yes! I think that deserves some applause.
I create experiences that awaken the heart.
Create experiences that awaken the heart.
They do.
Any of you have ever been to the event with Corey? That's true. Lori?
I pave the way for others to thrive in unrealized possibility and power.
That's Lauren, my personal assistant. I love it. Susan King, the Ronald McDonald House.
Mine's very short. I was told not to create a huge superpower, but so my superpower is to inspire others by being kind.
So, imagine that. So now we have empowered people, and we have an empowered company, a company that knows why it exists, and that's a powerful place. A powerful place to be. But I want to talk about what can happen next, because I think the next one is where the magic happens exponentially, and that's if you can take this and you can bring it into your trade organizations or your community. So when purposeful people that understand what fulfills them are aligned with purposeful brands that understand why they exist, and then they go out and play like we do here, we play together, we can create massive magic. And I want to tell you a story about how something like that occurred in our industry. As it was added into Robert's intro, I am a member of the Board of Trustees of the National Roofing Contractors Association. But that's only in the last year. About 2 years ago, I went back because I wanted to find the purposeful people in the roofing industry. So I went to the trade show a day early to the Rebuilding Orlando Day, and that's where I met the purposeful people. So if you guys want to get involved in trade organizations, show up at the volunteer day, meet those people and network. It's an amazing opportunity if you really want to have a way cooler life. I'm just saying, it's amazing when you do this. I'll tell you more reasons why later. As I got involved there, I was introduced to the CEO of the National Roofing Contractors Association. His name was Bill Good. And he's a retired CEO now. He's still very close to me. But Bill he came to visit out here because he saw what Antis was doing. He was impressed. He saw the donation to Habitat. So we came with Sharon Ellis and I and Chris he's back there. We went to the Habitat Home Depot Foundation build. We built like 16 homes inside the Tustin hangars, which was amazing, and he saw that. He went to our suite that night. He saw our tribute to a nonprofit, and he said to me some amazing things. He said, "Charles, I need to tell you about the state of our industry." And I heard things I'd never heard before, and these 3 facts I'll never forget. The first is, roofing is the only trade that hasn't recovered from pre-recession margins. That's notable. The next 2 are more. He said, "Charles, 3 out of 5 roofing companies in this great country will be out of business in the next 2 to 3 years. More than a 50% fail rate." The third stat, which is even worse today, he said, of the 500,000 roofing workers across this country, people that work for roofing installation companies, over half will leave their company this year. So that's a huge attrition rate. And so he said to me, what can we do to lift our trade? What can we do to lift our margin? What can we do to help our people have a better night's sleep? And I thought, I love this stuff. I love this. This is great. And I answered him right away. We can donate all the Habitat roofs. And there was just like crickets, you know, because I didn't see scale yet, and Habitat's the largest home builder in the world, and we couldn't get products, so that didn't happen. And they said, "I got it. It's gonna be so great, and I can't wait to tell you. Okay, look at the pictures. We're gonna do November, and everyone's gonna grow beards. All the roofers are gonna grow beards, and we're gonna." And it was the same thing. Nobody said a word. You remember that? I mean, I kept talking. Nobody would ask a question, and finally we just said bye. But you know, there's something magical, and one of the things I want to leave you today is, when you just think that things are possible, if you just get your mindset to that things are possible, things happen all the time. It was possible for me to donate that roof, even though it felt impossible, and by doing so, a lot happened. And so, with that mindset of trying to find this thing, Susan Kenny walks in my office one day. And I just met Susan Kenny from Ronald McDonald House because I had spoken like my first talk a couple years ago. So she came over to do her job and try to get money for her cause. She also found out that I have a past with Ronald McDonald House. I have 4-year-old twins that were in shock NICU for a month, and so we had a great connection. And it was right off the bat, we decided, hey, we keep families safe and dry. You keep families near their sick children. How about we keep your families safe and dry and near their sick children? And she said, yes. And so we started taking care of the room. Then She comes over one day, Corey, Susan and I are inside the office, and Susan's super excited. She's, oh, dude, I just got this. This is kind of how she talks. She's at the National Ronald McDonald House Conference, and it was amazing. And Susan Kinney talks about this guy, Rob Parker, who's a somewhat famous philanthropist, spokesperson for McDonald's, big part of Ronald McDonald House in creating branding. And she's telling me about it, and I go, wait a minute. We're all just talking like, wait, how many homes are there in the country? 184. Well, we could, what if we took care of the roofs of Ronald McDonald House? Can you give me the number? So Susan gives me Rob Parker's number. I call him. He doesn't hang up on me. He answers. There were no crickets. The crickets came later. He did. Because I was like, let's get going. We can get all the roofs. We can get them all done in like 2 months. I don't see structure very well. I'm like, we can do this. And so I noticed they took me out of the conversation, and I'm like reaching out to Susan and everybody, what happened? I mean, what's going to happen? And then like, there's like 6 months pass, and then I go to San Diego where we're having our national roofing philanthropic arm, the National Roofing Alliance is meeting there. And I go in there with these macho roofers, and the roofers that I'm referring to are like Robert size, you know. They're big men. They're exactly what you think roofers would look like. They look just like that, you know. And I watched them. First of all, I watched them try not to let anyone see when they were wiping their eyes during the film. And then I watched this group of men vote in Ronald McDonald House to be our first ever nonprofit partner in the 130-year trade history of the National Roofing Contractors Association. And now, none of those families across the country will have to worry about having a safe, dry roof to sleep in when we're visiting some kids. I think that, you know, I don't know how to tie all this up because I have so many deep thoughts about this, but gosh, when we work together, when we bring purpose into the discussion, when we try to bring it in, when you talk about purpose, by the way, it comes out different every day. It's like Simon Sinek, what's your why? I mean, some days it's like, Simon Sinek, what's your why? It's like, F off, Simon Sinek, I don't know. But I try to ponder that question every day, and it evolves, and I love leaders that do that. I love it. I love to hang out with leaders that are trying to find a better way, and that's why I love the Irvine Chamber of Commerce. It's all about a better way. It's a master planned community that is trying to do things in the best way, and I love it that Irvine Chamber of Commerce asked me to speak, knowing I was going to talk about purpose before profit. But I think the thing that I would leave you with is that now's the time. Never in my lifetime have I seen the need to raise your voice and to raise it in a way that shows that all people are important. And I think that the thing that I would like to see us do as a community is work together and thrive by putting people and profit first. I mean, people before profit and purpose before profit. I would say, in conclusion, another thing that it's good to know the contrast. You saw my team on the video, and that's just randomly how they occur. We have a great culture. And so I would say this, in an industry where 3 out of 5 roofing companies are doomed to fail in the next 2 to 3 years, and where there's more than a 50% attrition rate, Antis Roofing retained 93% of our employees last year, and we are thriving. And that's what happens when you put purpose first. It changes everything. We are changing the world one roof at a time, just like we say. And when your people know they are changing the world one roof at a time, it's magic. And I love the people in this room. When I walked in, I mean, I know 100 of you. I know your smiles. I feel safe for you. This is the easiest talk I've ever had to give because I know where your hearts are. And I know some of you maybe aren't there, but I'm going to challenge you to let's work together. Let's put purpose and people first, and let's create the world that we want to live in. Thank you.
I am touched, I'm moved, and I'm inspired. An attorney and a judge who's speechless. I don't even know what to say about this. An amazing presentation, Charles. Really, really phenomenal. I got caught off guard. What I'd like to do now, I'm just going to read it because the words fail me. Thank you, Charles, for telling your story. That just seems so shallow. I'm just really touched, moved, and inspired. Thank you for that. Anybody else? Touched, moved, and inspired? Thank you.
I made a commitment to wear these socks. I have 24 pair of these. I wear these every day. I made a commitment about a year ago that I would wear them until every house was adopted. And they're not all adopted yet. We have the goal to have them all adopted across the country by November. That's next month, so we'll hopefully get there. But I might wear them indefinitely. I kind of like them.
So, a couple questions. I don't know if this came from the chamber, but it came from the community. These are great questions. The first one, what were some obstacles you encountered when you put purpose before profit within your business, and how did you overcome it?
That's a great question. So there are a lot of obstacles. I think the authenticity piece and whether or not it encompasses all your people is a big deal. So I would say that when you have passion, but you don't really work the passion for everyone, you don't. If I just tell people, hey, I just donated. I mean, when I first donated, when I said yes to Habitat, the first roof, that was okay. But then I started saying yes to like 8 roofs at a time. I mean, my people weren't happy. Production had more work to do, and they didn't love the idea there was no money coming in behind it. And marketing had to work weekends, and so it was like, this is what it was like. Remember the scene in Old School when Will Ferrell's streaking, this bike comes up, and she's like, hey honey, come on, everybody's doing it. That's how isolated I was in the beginning. I didn't have my team on board, and it took a while to do that, and it took doing builds and inviting people on builds. It also took using 1OCs. 1OC is a local nonprofit that connects nonprofits to for-profit businesses, and they have this giving card. So like when we started giving out the giving card and asking people who they gave it to, a giving card is a gift card that can only be redeemed at a 501(c) nonprofit. We started giving out these giving cards, and they explained who they gave it to and why. The employees started hearing each other's passion. Well, I gave it to the American Cancer Society because my mom died, or that was way too much. My aunt died, and the other one, somebody in somebody in production goes, oh my God, I do it. And all of a sudden people start aligning and talking. And so this is what has to happen. When for philanthropy to work, for CSR to work, cause to work in a business, it has to work from the inside out. It can't just be this outward play. If you're skipping over your employees but giving really generously in the community, I think that I've been guilty of that at times. You know, being that seagull boss at work, and then, no, let's give away roofs. You know, I think it has to be real, but it has to be from your people.
As a business owner, that resonates. I am sure everyone in this room can say they have multiple interests or passion within the community. What is your advice for picking the right one to act on?
I could go a lot of directions on that question. But I think that you have to really search your heart and see what that thing is that awakens you, that interests you, that fulfills you. And it might be something that I can't do that. I got to tell you, I love public speaking today, but 2 years ago, my team would have told you, Charles doesn't, he'll have a live mic. He likes what Robert did today. He doesn't like to be the guy speaking. That's who I was. So I think that you have to go deep. I love assessments. Do assessments. You're not going to like always what you hear. Do the emotional intelligence one, and it'll make you feel stupid, but it'll really open your mind. But I'm going to tell you a story that I actually, I have a storytelling coach. He reminds me, don't tell stories, because people only remember stories. And so there was a story that I wanted to tell you, but he said, don't tell that story. You have to just submit it in 30 minutes. So I said, okay, I trust this guy. But I'm going to tell you something that happened to me. Can I go back to that last slide? One after that, yeah. Okay. This was the story I left out. And this is something that's really recent. And I think that it'll show you my own discovery of something that wasn't important to me because I overlooked it, and that was homelessness. Homelessness was something that wasn't important to me because it was convenient for me to overlook it. Like so many of us, it was, I mean, I can remember, and I'm not proud of this, but I can remember like 15 years ago, there was a homeless man that I sometimes saw in Mission Viejo. And I remember talking about it almost like a novelty, completely dismissing, not noticing his humanness and anything about this man. And I'm ashamed of that today, but I understand why I did it. And this all changed for me one day. It changed for me at the one, sorry, I was driving along the road in somewhere in Orange County around Fullerton, and I pulled in to a stoplight. And you know, in my daydream state of driving, I looked over on the sidewalk, and there was somebody on the sidewalk side sitting down. It was a woman, a middle-aged woman, with a very expressionless face. No sign, but normally you would have a sign here saying, help me, I'm homeless. But she didn't, so I was just sitting there kind of in wonderment, almost amused by it, not thinking to do anything. And at this moment, something happened, two things happened that changed my view forever. The first is, there was a bicyclist came up behind this woman. The bicyclist was apparently on his way to work or school, and he had a backpack for lunch or something. And when he came up behind her, the first thing I saw was when she realized the man was approaching her, she put both arms up and she flinched. And that was hard to see. Wow, that's her experience with men. But the next piece changed my life. And the man slowly put his hands into his backpack, and he pulled out a 2-liter bottle of water, and he handed it to this lady, and I watched her just very so quietly nod her head in thanks. And he didn't turn around to notice me looking at him. He just got on his bike and he pedaled off. That changed my thoughts on everything because I was so sad for that lady. And I was so proud of that man. And I thought, I want to be that man. I want to do what I can for homelessness. Anti-roofing exists to keep families safe and dry, and yet I'm ignoring those that are the least safe and least dry. And I made that commitment, and I'm so lucky that Susan DeGrassi is like you've been in United Way for like 100 years, right? So she's my sister. Story. So Sue Parks from United Way, and you know, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. And the reason I wanted to tell this story is this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, where individuals, where organizations, companies, where government agencies, where veterans groups, where everyone's coming together for this greater cause. And so I'm not asking you to do this to tell you what's good for you, but if that resonates with you, there's an opportunity for you to sign the petition. You can go online. Give us the plug, Sue.
United to End Homelessness.org.
United to End Homelessness.org. You know what? This is the thing that everyone's jumping in. Everyone's doing it. And this time everyone is doing it. It's not the welfare and I love being a part of it. And I don't know what my commitment scares me a little bit, because these commitments that we make, like that commitment to donate that roof the first year was more than I could afford. But by making that commitment, by not saying no, something shifted that night, and other work came in, you know, and it's like making this commitment to me is a big deal. Making it for our team to make that commitment is a big deal. I know that we're going to eradicate homelessness in Orange County. So that's an example of how I wake up to a new cause, and somehow there's enough for us to help a little bit every day.
This is an amazing question to follow. Amazingly motivational. High energy. You must be high energy. Yeah, it's touch.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I thought so.
I wore a kilt at my brother's wedding. Lay that on there.
All right, final question. How do you stay motivated during those times when maybe it feels like you have nothing left to give?
Yeah, there's time. So I think if you're a leader, leader, the most important thing that you can do is to lift everybody up, what Karen does. Oh, that whole superpower thing, one thing I'd like to tell you about is superpowers are transferable. You know, you ever see that when you hang around people that have what you want, you become what you want. You become what you want to become. And so I lift people I touch every day. That's a great trait. And so how do you do that? And this is the most important thing for me. Like, I didn't get worried. This is how I prepared for the speech today. I did the same thing I did every day. I got myself convinced that this is the best day there's ever been. This is the greatest day of my life. I had to get up at 3:45, but I did. I went on a bike ride. I rode to the top of a mountain. I saw I heard a yipping group of coyotes. They were probably destroying one of my neighbor's dogs, but oh, by the way, did you guys, when you walked out this morning, did you smell that? Did you smell that? Are we in Hawaii? I mean, so they started that way. I got in the moment, and I learned this thing. I heard Susan Kinney give the same talk about Ronald McDonald House at the International Ronald McDonald House Expo in Chicago last month. And that was amazing. He did a great job. But I remember something that I heard there, and I love this. The secret of life, just maybe staying in the moment. And I think that, so I spend my whole morning, after I do that, I do I don't know if you call this Tai Chi or Qi Jong, but I do this weird thing that I learned from the guy, the storytelling coach. I don't understand why I'm doing it, but I just experiment. Then I go swim. When I swim like the slowest swim you've ever seen. But my point is, I slow time down, I do a journaling thing, I write what I'm grateful for. By the time I got here this morning, this was the best day of my life. And that is, I think, the best place a leader can get themselves. That's what I do. And then the last part of that question I'd say is, I don't think giving is just something you do from a point of excess. Like, oh, I have $10 billion, I'm going to give away 5. I believe that if you can incorporate giving into your model now and consider gifts that are way out of your league to give, your business will grow. And I can't explain how that works because I don't know. I can't explain why that works. I really don't know that either. I just know it works because I'm that guy who did everything the wrong way 100 times before I did it the right way. And every time I say yes to an ask, miracles happen all around us. So it's part of the way. Some of the that's like ripping the rib out of me. That's part of what it feels like to be successful in the land.
There was no graceful way to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, now that I have my composure back, the power, the motivation, the honesty, the self-deprecation, these are all qualities of a great leader. I'm touched, moved, and inspired. Charles, that was an amazing presentation. And I'm inspired. Who else is inspired to do great work?
There's one thing. One thing. This is important. So I don't know if this is accurate, but this is what I noticed. So we're on a few national boards in our company. We on the U.S. Chamber of Commerce External Advisory Board, and then our CA and some other governing groups over roofing. And one of the things I noticed is when I go there and raise my voice, my socially forward voice, because you guys give me that go-ahead. Like if I say something socially forward here, Jim or Steve or someone's going to echo it. They're going to say, that's okay, we believe that too. So what I've noticed is that in Orange County, we wear socially forward really well. Like if this was a prison, our country was a prison, sorry, I think we're, it's like, we're allowed to be socially forward, but in Texas, not necessarily. My point is this, the same heart of a philanthropic roofing professional in Texas doesn't get heard the way it does here. So I'm telling those in Orange County to raise your voice. This is a great place to be from. It's not Berkeley, because in Berkeley, yeah, we're grateful they're there, but they'll do what hurts. We won't do it if it hurts. We'll only do it if it works. We're like new money Orange County. So my point is this. Orange County is a great place to come from if you're talking about how to make the world a better place. In your trade organizations, raise your hand, because here it echoes. I don't have to hide it here because you guys share it. In other parts of the country, some parts of the country, it's not, that hasn't grown that much yet. That's the last thing I'll say. So raise your voice and thanks for watching.